Yes.
I think you deliberately did nothing.
I'm so jealous of your icon being Isaac.
Yes.
Ah, it's so good.
I did that earlier today.
Yeah,
love
you have good
that.
fan art.
Fan art already has been
It's
amazing.
so good.
Yeah.
Are we permitting people to talk, or is
It
the
looks
mod?
like we've got some requests.
I'm not sure how this works. Maybe Galador Theory or
Cat. Come back, Cat.
Yeah. Hello.
Now,
Hi.
Yeah.
am I good to start permitting people?
Food.
Because you were all food. Can I permit people now?
Yeah,
Are we
let's
ready?
do it.
Yeah.
By the
Yeah.
power vested in you by the world of darkness and in the
we're all
interest
tired
of
of each
public
other.
safety. Yes, I think it's probably a good idea for you to let people ask questions.
No, you can't eat that. Don't do that. Sorry, I'm talking to my cats.
You have to be talking to your cat, or you're just repeating Richter yelling at Fuego.
Right.
Yeah, you can't eat that. Don't do that.
Yeah, you have no idea where that's been.
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Help me.
Hi, Thonarka.
Hello.
Hello. This question is for Jason Carl. Is there
Hey.
going to be any chance
Great.
that we will start seeing some of the stats and attributes for the New York by Night crew on a wiki somewhere in the near future?
Ooh.
That's a great question. Thank you very much, Thonarka. So, generally, we don't share character sheets until a chronicle is entirely concluded for a couple of different reasons. Reason number one, there are things in those sheets that I don't want the other characters to see while the story is in progress. And reason number two is because by sharing the sheets, we're sort of suggesting that this maybe is the one and only way to do it, but that's not the case. Everybody gets to tell the story their way, and we wouldn't want to suggest that this is the specific and one and only way to tell the story.
But I do have a fake sheet where all my stats are 100. Happens ever.
It's a good.
Yeah.
It's my favorite sheet, actually.
We win so much with that one.
So I will say that, as
What?
much as I would love to share my character sheet, my character sheet changed, like the trajectory of it changed as we were going. I thought I wanted to buy into specific stats and specific traits. And then as the episodes started happening, Ray changed directions in my head. It might have been where he was always going as a character, but there are certain things that I was like, oh, I need to start defending myself against this, or, oh, we can play into this weakness. So, like, where my character sheet sits now kind of, for me, gives away the future episodes a little bit.
Oh, that's so fun! I didn't
The
know
living
that.
document.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. There were things that I was gonna take and then met you three, and I was like, oh, no, changing those decisions.
We're all living
Best
documents
laid
if you think
plans
about it.
don't
Oh,
survive
that's
contact
deep.
with the coterie.
Yeah.
Hi,
Mine doesn't
Nazra.
share- Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, you go, Quiddy.
I was just gonna say mine has a big ass secret on it, so no one can see it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
Things-
yes.
think it would
things
be-
we
I think
thought
it
would
be
come
better
up
to
that
conceal
didn't.
that.
They did not.
I have
But
no
they should.
secrets.
You are a miserable pile of
Sure.
secrets, don't you lie?
Sure, Alex.
Thanks for the great question, Thonarka. Way to start it off. Thank you. Who is next? Is it Nazra?
Nazra.
Looks like it.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I think I know the answer from Alex already, but are you guys playing your favorite clan? And if not, which one is it?
Ooh.
I mean, yes, I have a couple of clans that I love, but Samitsi is my favorite clan.
Yeah. I thought I was going to play Toreador, but then I took the quiz and I got Ravnos, and then I just really attached to it, and I thought it was very interesting. And as I talked to Jason more, and he explained more about where the clan has sat in the past in the game and where it exists in the current stuff, it became my favorite clan.
I think for me, I would have probably said my favorite was Malkavian, but I honestly do not have the courage to play a Malkavian on a show like this, especially after Xander did such an amazing job with X. I'm like,
That's fair.
that's I don't have those improv chops. So I was like, you know what? They'll definitely be my favorite though.
You're being modest, though. I think
You're being so modest.
very good at improv.
Shh.
Abria.
Hold on. Sorry, I'm drunk.
Be safe. Be safe.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Be safe.
Mine was a dead split between Ventrue and Tremere. But then I realized the game I wanted to play fell in a little more with Ventrue. And then after we talked, Mayanna, I went and took the quiz and I got Ventrue and I was like, I'm doing it. I'm home.
Yeah, I only just took the quiz today and I got Ravnos.
Yeah, my brother in
Amazing.
Christ.
I took the quiz and got Zametzi, so I don't know what that says about me personally. but-
That you're internally consistent and the monster.
Ooh,
yeah.
damn.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Faye.
Oh my goodness. Hello. I'm Bae.
Oh, your
Nice to
picture
meet
is
you.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Hi.
Hello. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan of all of your guys' work. And
Thank you.
I'm tuning in tonight from Osaka, Japan.
Oh,
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh my gosh,
Um,
I'm
thank you so much for joining us
Thank
from all the way in
you.
Hell
Osaka.
yes.
Thank you, Bae.
You guys, your work has meant a lot to me over the past few months. And I would just like to ask all of you, is there anything specific that you guys do to get into character before airing the show? Sorry, I'm nervous.
Ooh.
No,
Oh, that's
no worries.
okay.
Great.
That's a great
What a
question.
great question.
Ooh,
Who
who wants to
wants to
answer
start?
first?
Well, yeah, Alex, you've been a character the longest on this show.
Well, you know, Isaac's. It took a lot more for me to get in character with Jasper than it is with Isaac. Isaac is the way he ended up being, at least like, however he comes out in the, regardless of the plans I had before we started shooting the show, is pretty comfortable. It just kind of happens. I'm not someone who. I don't have a playlist. I don't have a certain thing that I do before I get into the show. It was always the joke that in LA by Night that B Dave and I would, yell things at each other before we started because that's just, as soon as Jason starts his intro, then I'm kind of like, I click into it. That's just how I work. And Isaac is just kind of just a part of me. So I just click into that feeling. There are times where it definitely doesn't work and it takes me a minute to like, oh no, wait, hold on, where am I? Here I am. But I don't have any specific ritual, as it were.
Mm.
You took the test and you're Zamitzi and Isaac is part of you. You're really tipping your hand here.
Yeah, no, look, I've loved Zamitzi I've known about Vampire for so long.
Yes.
And Zamitzi has been my favorite forever, and I'm just excited to play one, and I have so many ideas that it's just about to boil out of me, so.
Yeah. For me, I have like the real like long laid plans of like for Ray, I want to make sure that I know a little bit about money laundering and real estate in New York and just like doing that research in the background weeks before we shoot so that I just have that in my head so that I can form one-liners off of it and stuff like that, and I can do that a little bit. But the only other thing that ever like that helps for Ray to get in the headspace is whenever I was doing improv when I was in high school. I was pretty bad about like breaking and laughing, and the way that I got over that was I was literally like getting mad at myself every time I did it. I was like, oh darn, you broke again. You broke again. It's like, what if you actually got mad at yourself? And then so it just became this like weird cycle of like every time I was gonna break, I'd end up looking angry because I would get mad at myself, and I'm like, oh, that's probably not healthy. But hey, it works for Ray. So I'd kind of just kick back into that.
A cope.
Yeah.
Love that.
I have a playlist, and with Seraph, I was very particular also about like I like to build a character through clothing. I've always been that way when I was doing my BFA and stuff as well. Like when I put the clothes on, that tends to be the thing that brings a lot of stuff to the forefront for me. And the music was what?
Relatable.
Oh my God. It's like you channel like a being. It's like you're
Yeah.
summoning a ghost and you're like, this is the ghost of storytelling. I don't know what it is.
Talking about ghosts.
But yeah, so I did that, and then I had a playlist that I would play every day when I went to work on it, and it helped me to place both, you know, the sounds of what I wanted to put my interpretation of our version of New York was, and also just to get into this playful, silly, not taking things too seriously energy. So that's what I did.
Also am team playlist on the way in.
Woo woo.
Yeah, so that's my favorite like way to kind of hit the vibe on the way in. But the thing I do right before we start shooting, I will write down on a piece of paper. There's like 2 sentences. The first one is I can't stop thinking about, and then usually some big beat from the previous session that like is driving action.
Ooh.
Or
Oh my God, that's a
attention.
great idea.
Thank you. And then the second sentence is either I want, I fear, I hate, or I love.
Oof.
And then something that like my brain, like my character's brain is still spinning around that will like, again, drive their actions and what they're like, what is top of mind for them.
Wow, that's a
That's
great
really
prep.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Damn.
You're so professional.
It's a sage.
It's honestly just because, like, ew, this is gonna sound like a weird brag, and I'm so sorry. I usually work on a couple projects simultaneously,
Yeah,
so
flex
like,
on 'em.
Yeah.
it kind of takes that to spin me into a specific character.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Oh my God, go off.
Yeah, and especially doing like so many projects live too, you know, like you have days, you know, you have a whole week in between when you play that character again.
Yeah.
Whereas with New York by Night, like this is one of the big benefits of being pre-taped, that like we just kind of stayed in it for, you know, 2 weeks straight.
Mm-hmm.
It was
And
so beautiful. I miss it.
yeah,
Yeah, me
and there are
too.
some like days where we would shoot 2 episodes, so like you can feel that high from the end of the previous episode right when we start the next one, and it like translates better, and I think helps us like ramp up quicker.
Yeah.
Which I'm really appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Thank you all
Hey,
for
thank you so
your
much
answers.
for your excellent question.
And thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
dialing in from Osaka.
That's awesome. I want to visit there one day.
Ah,
Yeah, me too.
Please do.
My
I'd be happy
favorite
to have
Rabadia.
a look.
Ooh. Sorry, I cut you off. I got excited. I would like to come visit you. Okay, that's weird. I'm gonna stop.
Yes, come to Osaka.
Who is next?
Thank you very much. Take care.
Thank
Goodbye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I think our next
Hello.
question is
What up,
from
Nikita?
Nikita24.
How you guys
Hello.
doing? First of all, I just want to say, Abria, you've been everywhere on my TV recently, and I love it. And you're amazing. You guys are all amazing. Jason, my question is actually for you. I was wondering if we're going to see any familiar faces or hear any familiar names from LA by Night. I know that, Jasper was from New York, and there were some other kind of integrations there with New York. I don't know what the timeline is exactly comparatively, but I was just curious if we'll see any of that.
I mean, I'm sure you'll hear familiar names, considering that they're, you probably know someone named Steve or Mark, and I'm sure they'll come up at some point.
Sorry, just jump in one more time. Who is Jasper? What's that?
You know what?
Jasper is just this guy, So to answer your
Like
question,
Zaphod.
in terms of continuity, New York by Night takes place after the conclusion of LA by Night. You don't need to watch LA by Night to enjoy New York by Night. You can watch both independently without having to worry about whether or not you're spoiling it for yourself. In terms of where it takes place in our wider World of Darkness continuity, the action takes place immediately after the Coteries of New York video game and concurrent with the start of Shadows of New York video game. Again, you can play both of those without spoiling New York by Night. You can watch New York by Night without spoiling those video games, but that tells you where it fits into the overall timeline. Now, to answer your more specific question, you'll just have to keep watching to find out.
Ooh, that was so good. It was so mysterious.
Spooky.
Absolutely awesome. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, you guys.
No worries.
Who is going to ask the next question? Is it Juliet?
Stay away from that candle, I swear to God.
Cat.
Hello.
Sorry, I'm yelling at my cat.
Hello. How's it going?
Please preface or post your comments to your cat with cat. Thank you. Hello. Help us say your name correctly, please.
Julian.
Cool.
Julian. Hello, Julian.
Julian, that was to you. Don't touch the candle.
Oh,
Don't touch that
okay.
candle.
Don't go to the light. Don't look into it.
First of all, I'll just say I am loving it. I am especially loving Ray and Seraph. You are my favorites so far.
Hey.
I love you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're the best.
But I did want to ask, when you guys build your characters, or whenever you build any character, do you take a part of your own personality, or do you like to play characters that are completely the opposite from you?
Great question.
Ooh. Yeah. I tend to fall into a trap of looking at the characters that I like to play and the archetype that I'd like to fit into and saying, oh yeah, but I always play that. I'm not going to play that this time. And then I end up never playing the archetype that I actually really end up really resonating with. So I ended up with a short-tempered 55-year-old man in this campaign, in this chronicle.
I like him though.
Spoiler: Ray's old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just putting a little gray in the hair just to give that idea. But yeah, Ray's old. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, there's probably a little bit of kind of sometimes the responses I wish I could give, and maybe I think better of it, and Ray doesn't. But there's not too much of exactly flowing with the decisions that I would make in there.
I'll speak a little bit. I think Seraph is the what is it? It's just the impulse part of my brain. I think I just took that part out, and the desire to just do weird stuff randomly for no reason that gets you in trouble if you do that in your actual life. And I think I just started with that and then kind of built off from there. So it's a little bit of impulses that I think you can't adhere to in your normal life because you'll get in trouble, but are very fun in a structure where you can get in trouble, but in a safe way. And then I think also off of that, a little bit of wish fulfillment of Seraph is someone that I think I wish I could be, that she encapsulates all of these personality traits that I try to capture in my life, but that she can love and feel good about all the time. So that's a fun encouragement for me to be more confident as well.
I'll jump in, and I will start by saying Ray and Sarah fucking slap. They're and you're absolutely correct. And I guess for me, I don't think I've ever played a character that wasn't very obviously based on some trait or some thought or something I was turning on or experiencing at the time the character is created. But I think the trick to Fuego at least is that she is a big pile of my fears and then the things that I'm afraid of. So she's id forward in the way that Mayana was talking about, but also way more overtly sexual and puts herself out there and puts herself out emotionally in a way that I would never do because I'm a Virgo. My Virgo rising would not allow that. So yeah, she's very vulnerable and makes herself vulnerable in a space and in a system and in a world where that is preyed upon. So I don't know. That's just kind of the where she connects to me.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that would be me.
Yeah.
You talk now.
Yeah. It's more of an unconscious thing, I think, in that I make a character that sounds good at the time I'm making them. And it's very heavily dependent on where I am personally at the time. It's not so much of a conscious thought as it is just my subconscious maybe working through some stuff. So like Jasper was very much indicative of who I was at the time I made Jasper. And Isaac, almost forgot my character name. Good on me. Isaac is very indicative of where I was or am now. It wasn't that long ago. When I made him. So it's just kind of what feels good at the time and what I base a character based on, like, I obviously when you making a vampire character, you pick the clan. You're like, I want to play this clan. It's usually your first thought, but then I find what could possibly be an interesting story or something that doesn't normally get done with a clan, with that specific clan. So the same thing I did with Jasper, and then like, okay, this is a Nosferatu who hates being what he is and also is obsessed with magic and finding magic in the world and found a way to find it. And Isaac is a...
That really makes me want to hug 4 years ago you, and it makes me terrified of current you.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But Isaac is also built like that in what's an interesting story to tell with Tzimisce. Also because like Tzimisce don't get a lot of play especially in a live stream, but also in general, considering that most of them were unless you were playing a spot specific game, you didn't really get to play any like a Tzimisce, a La Sombra, a Bali, any of those clans. You didn't get to play them unless you were playing a Sabbat game. And so now getting to explore these characters within the confines of a non-Sabbat setting is a really interesting thing to me. So I'm happy to get to do that.
Oh yeah.
Julianne, thank you so much for your question.
No,
Did that help?
thank you all. Just want to say you guys are my safe space. So World of Darkness is
thank
perfect.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. You
Okay.
too.
We have something like 534 questions to get through. So I'm going to encourage us to be just a little more concise.
You're
with
right.
our answers so we can get through.
I will not.
One word answers only.
Well, I tried. Okay, so I think next we have Canadian Kaz. Kaz is one of our moderators who helps
Hello.
keep our
What
chat
up?
and community safe.
Hi.
Wait, how are you
Song
awake?
breaking. Sorry. How? What do you mean? I'm in Australia. It's 2:15 p.m. Alex.
Oh,
And
sorry.
you know
It was way
that.
later. I don't know. I've never been there.
Anyways,
There's this magical thing.
Come on,
called
Alex. It's just
natural
south of Osaka. You know that.
Yeah, that's right.
yes, the Canadian living in Australia. Anyways, congratulations on breaking over 2,000 live Twitch viewers for each of the first 2 episodes of New York by Night. That's amazing and well done.
Thank you.
Would it be possible for us to get just one fact each from each of your characters' human lives pre-embrace, please?
Ooh, great. Great question.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
One fact. I can go first.
Okay.
Seraph went to NYU for art.
That's New York University for those.
New York University for art.
Maybe not cognizant with collegiate structure. It's a very
Amazing.
cool college
Fuego was
in New York
obsessed
City.
with.
Yes.
Oh, go ahead. Play. Sorry.
No, you go, Fuego.
No, you
Okay.
go.
Fuego was in her human life obsessed with AOC.
For those of you not
Had posters of her on her
cognizant of the
wall.
American
Yeah.
political structure,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
referring to a U.S. House of Representatives congressperson. Do you want to give her full name?
Alice. Oh, I think I just
You're
cut
breaking up.
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
I'm sorry. I'll be home in normal internet soon.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There we go. Okay, I'll go. Fuck. A thing about Isaac before they were kindred. Let's see. Ooh, here we go. Isaac has a sister.
Ooh, damn.
Oh.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then for Ray, Ray was really close to leaving the business world and retiring. And that is no longer an option.
Just 2 days from
Yeah,
retirement.
he was 2 days from retirement.
Oh no.
No, but he had a whole retirement plan. One day when he decided to not, keep his nose to the grindstone, he had a plan.
He was gonna rest.
Yeah, there was lots of sun involved.
Oh no.
Oh, no more
Sorry.
sun for you.
I said something, and I need to clear. I'm watching the chat go by. Isaac has he/him pronouns, just not to confuse anybody. I said they, but I didn't mean that in the pronoun sense. I just meant they in the grammatical sense. He/him, just to avoid any confusion.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a chat?
Yeah, I know. I don't see the chat.
It's on a different page. It's the
That's okay.
New York by Night live stage.
Oh, okay, great.
Betty
I'm
and
watching
Cass,
all
thank
of
so
you.
much for your question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for moderating our Twitch stream.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's a pleasure. I'll see you guys next
Really
week.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Next
Thank
week.
you.
Next to the microphone, we have Bloodied Porcelain.
Ooh.
There's an evocative image.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
What's your question, Bloodied Porcelain?
My question is actually for you, Jason. I'm a storyteller, and I know that I have a list of questions I ask any player that comes to my table outside of lines and veils and like character sheet specific stuff. What do you ask your players to help them build their characters?
I always ask my players as they will tell you, innumerable questions, probably to the point where they get sick of it. But some of the most important questions I ask are about goals. Good characters are characters that have strong, definite goals. Long-term, stuff that's going to happen in the future if they're successful, and short-term, stuff that they want to do immediately, tonight. And I like to ask my characters to make sure that they have several of each ready at the table to go as soon as we begin, because it's all about pursuing opportunities and choices and taking actions that come from those decisions. So characters that want things are characters that have a lot more fun, at least at my table. Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for the awesome question. Let's see.
It's a setup.
It's a
Who else do we
setup.
have?
I hesitate to. That is a terrifying icon. Also, what is that?
Sorry. Hi. I just wanted to say oh my god, I love you guys so much. Like, it's like every time I see a notification, I'm just like, hell yeah, it's time.
Oh my God, it's
But
cracking.
my question is, sorry, I'm like super nervous. My
Okay.
question is, is there a type of monster or any type of like cryptid that is your absolute favorite?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
Whoa. Who wants to start?
Alex,
Mothman.
do you have one? Oh, yeah. Bria,
Hold
go
on,
for
I
it.
do. I just have to remember what it's called. 1 second.
Alex is
If it
flipping
helps,
through his
mine is
lore
the
books.
Flatwoods monster.
Ooh.
Abria, did you say you had one?
I have so little internet. I hope you can hear me. I just
I can
yelled
hear you.
Mothman.
Yeah, you're good.
Mothman. I like fuckable cryptids. Yay!
Yes, I have a little
Oh.
Mothman plushie.
Hell yeah!
You guys go. I can't pick one.
Okay, I can hear Alex flipping through pages, so I don't know if I have one specifically, although I will say that like my favorite kind of like headcanon for all cryptids is that like humans have a superpower, and that superpower is free will. So I love the idea of like kindred that physically can't enter a building, or the idea of like garlic repelling vampires, not because they're allergic to it or some physiological thing, because their bodies tell them they cannot be anywhere near it, which plays into like is available through lore sheets and stuff like that in Vampire the Masquerade. But just this idea that every other creature and being has something that they are compelled to do, and humans and animals, have that free will so that they are allowed to do whatever they want, and that's their superpower. I always like that idea as a headcanon.
Ooh, that's great. Since Alex, you'll probably do
I'm back.
Yes. Go for it.
Oh, me? Okay, yes. I am a big fan, if we're getting real specific here, of Hachisaku-sama, who is a Japanese cryptid or urban legend or whatever you want to call it, who's a like 8 foot tall woman in a white dress who's very creepy, and it was, I believe, the inspiration for Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil 8.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Does
awesome.
Does the Loch Ness Monster count as a cryptid?
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, then I picked the Loch Ness Monster.
No question.
I will preach to you the gospel of Mothman, but we'll save that for the
Tell me all about Mothman.
Such a cute.
We don't have time.
It's a setup. Are you happier or sadder for having asked that question?
I'm happier. I'm glad everybody was super excited to answer that, because I also love cryptids.
Yay! And your avatar seems to be a cryptid.
Oh no, it's a personal character. He's like a weird centipede dude.
I love it.
Great question, and really apropos to Hunter the Reckoning, 5th edition.
Ooh.
Of course, yeah. Thank
Absolutely.
you.
A lot of cryptid hunting. Thank you. Our next question comes from Blameful Gecko. That should probably be the title of a lore sheet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good. Hello.
So this one specifically, I'm going to be a little bit more specific, so everyone doesn't answer and everything, since you guys said there were a ton of people waiting. This one's specifically for Abria. Firstly, I have to say, you're one of my wife and I's favorite GMs. We love watching you tell stories, and it's inspired us to actually, I've taken on the mantle of GM during COVID, because no one else wanted to do it, of course. And I've taken
how you start.
Yeah, and I've taken it on my back to essentially provide everyone with all of the elements that they never had in another group, when it comes to inclusivity and storytelling and everything. And it was a group of people who said they were never going to play Vampire, and I always wanted to play it. So with their consent, I've slowly moved in elements from Vampire into D&D. So things of so the mechanics of addiction and the really neat things of if you fail at something, being able to succeed with a cost and all that stuff. So I have this group of people who said they were never going to play Vampire, but now they're ready to do it. I'm introducing that in. And then for Abria, who creates these worlds in D&D all the time, I was wondering if there are any rules or mechanics from Vampire that you're interested in bringing over to some of your games, or have inspired you in some way, because I've never been happy with how D&D deals with kind of addiction and stuff, and I've always been happy with how Vampire really makes you sit in it. If you're a vampire, you're addicted, and you have proclivities you can't control, and there are whole mechanics around it that force you to not get away from it, instead of some of the mechanics in D&D where it's I'm a fun alcoholic, it's fun,
I mean, me too.
I don't know. So
I'm kidding.
Hopefully I didn't
I was going to say, hey, don't knock
overtalking.
high functioning addict as a trait.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go. I'm just super nervous, so hopefully I got my point across.
You're good.
No, 100%. And this is thank you so much. This is the dopest question because yeah, I do love taking mechanics and like working them in either mechanically or just like how does that drive character gen and makes the like players think about their characters. I really like the Bane system. I think that's the one I've like been sitting in. And I think it's like very close to what you were saying with the like addiction and all of the things that you choose for yourself as a player to like not necessarily hinder, but to give yourself like depth and complexity. And like, yes, the obvious thing is giving the DM or storyteller some like plot hooks to like needle at you with. But that idea of like you choosing your weak spots and your like blind points and sort of having them in there as like a trade for like your boons, because yeah, D&D is so focused on like all of your heroic aspects that yeah, it makes you like a cute little like high functioning alcoholic. But like yeah, that idea of like you have to explore the the darkest parts of you. That is like the horror element that Darkness games and Vampire specifically turn on. That those are that's the like the thing that I'm pulling. And yeah, I actually have sat down and been like, okay, how do I hack this into D&D to make it tell a more internal story? I haven't quite figured it out yet, but oh my god, you're the dopest GM and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Not to take up too much time, I just wanted to thank Abria again because I in everything you do, so I'm mixed and I always like make a half orc who doesn't know about orc culture as a way to deal with like not having this idea of what blackness is for myself. But in what you do and your confidence and the way you're always talking about who you are and how your blackness is part of you has been an inspiration.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank
That's
you so
awesome.
much.
You're so wonderful. Have a good night or day, a good time zone. I don't know where you are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blameful Gecko. And congratulations on becoming a storyteller.
Hell
yeah.
This side of the screen. Well done.
It's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Our next guest to the microphone is, forgive me if I don't say this correctly, Alstro Maria. Was I close? Hello, Alstro. The mysterious
Hello.
Drink.
sippy cup.
Yeah.
Sippy cup. I don't like the word sippy. Can we just talk
dragon
about
fruit lemonade?
It's a good word, and you're wrong.
It is a good word.
You know what?
Perhaps Galador Theory, you could help us out here.
Yeah, not
like your
maybe
mic's
not
not
everybody has
working.
their mics
Perhaps
set up.
Alstro's mic is muted.
So I'm
The
gonna
microphone
bring the
isn't set
next
up for the
person
live
in.
stage.
All good.
Thank you. David Blake.
What a wizard.
Hello. And welcome to the microphone.
No, it's David Blaine.
Oh.
No. Hi.
Not to troll you as soon as you
Just
come in.
like the 1-2 punch that you guys set up.
Wow.
Hello,
David.
hello,
welcome.
David Blake.
Hi. So I'm Dave from Budapest, Hungary. And,
Hello.
yeah, so I actually stayed up for 4 a.m. to watch
Oh
the
my
stream.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Dedication.
You're
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So my question is actually for mostly for since I know the basically the history of the hobby of Jason, Alex, and Abria, but I am curious about that Joey and Mayana. That did you played any other TTRPGs besides Vampire, and if you have any favorite systems or words or something like that?
Ooh, great question. Joe, you want to start?
Yeah. So back when LA by Night first started, I was working at Geek and Sundry, and so I got acquainted with a lot of RPGs through working there. And I think one, like I probably started playing D&D in 2018, something like that. Maybe a little earlier. But from there, like being introduced to Vampire through GNS, and then all the other systems that they would run. I think my favorite that I got exposed to through being there was probably 10 Candles, because it is just such a simple, straightforward game, and the concept of it teaches you that it is okay to lose, and it is okay to have a character that fails. And then I kind of, getting okay with that, pass that on to characters that I made for other RPGs, and Ray is definitely one of those. So if Ray fails, that's okay.
I've listened to Joey wax poetic about 10 Candles, and it sounds fascinating.
I love 10 Candles. We have to play. It's so good.
I'm so down.
I'm down.
For me, my first foray into tabletop was in college. I had a group of people who were bad at organizing things but wanted to try and do Pathfinder. So we did one session of Pathfinder, and we were space pirates, and I was a captain. And my one thing was that I always threw myself in front of my crew. And so my players were really mad at me. Or the other players, because I wasn't storyteller in that. And then we did one session of One Ring, which is, I guess, it's like Lord of the Rings tabletop stuff. So that one was really fun. But someone in my group was racist against elves, and I was an elf. So after that, I was like, no, thank you. I know. It felt personal. And and then I did D&D when I was working at a video game company. A group of coworkers got a campaign going, and we ran that campaign for like over a year, and that was great. And I played a half-elf cleric named Theo, and I try to integrate her name into things that I do to this day, because she was my favorite first character. And then I'm currently in a Strixhaven campaign with my friends, and I'm playing a half-elf again named Kyra, and she's the try-hardiest little freshman you ever did see. And I love TTRPG so much, and I hope I continue to get opportunities to do it more, because it's absolutely delightful.
Yay. I was running in the house, so I didn't hear the question. Is it just what TTRPG
tabletop
like?
experience? Yeah.
For
we're
Joey
going to be
and
here
Mayana.
all day if you list yours.
I wasn't gonna. I just want to know the question.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about that.
David, thank you very much.
Thank you for your answers, and let me just say that each and every one of you are just a huge inspiration for me, and so far the whole Chronicle is kick-ass, so I cannot wait to see how is it going to go in the future. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alstrom Maria, you're back.
Round 2.
Hello.
Is it working now?
Yeah.
I'm hiding in a closet as to not wake up other people in this house.
That's fine. Everyone does that sometimes.
That's a normal thing to do.
And
My whole house is a
completely
closet.
normal. Completely, absolutely normal. My question is for anyone who wants to take this, but the cities are as much a character in the Chronicle as your characters. And I was wondering what's something that you latched onto to like feel connected to New York? You have any New York experiences? What kind of got you in the mood for New York?
Seraph, go.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
I was born on Long Island, and so I harken back to my days living there. But Long Island, I lived in a small like Orthodox Jewish part of the town called Cedarhurst. So that was a very different experience. But my dad worked in the city, so we would commute to the city a lot. So the subway system really feels like a place that kind of grounds me in that. And just there's a rhythm to having to like walk there, and there's not enough space for you, but you make space for yourself. I haven't been in a couple years, but the sprawlingness of it and the height of the buildings, it does kind of make you feel kind of like a little bug, and that you're trying to make a name for yourself or put your foot down and leave imprints in this place that feels so much bigger than you. And in the vampire society, I think that it's a very similar idea, that there are these structures that have been there for years and bricks that have been there longer than you've been alive, and trying to feel relevant in that is something that I like to think about in channeling this story.
What a great answer. Does anybody else want to talk about their New York City
Sure.
connections or inspirations?
My dad is from, wait for it, Staten Island.
Hey!
And so, like, I remember when I was a kid, he told me about a lot of stuff about New York, so I kind of just try and tap into what I remember being told about New York. And then also I've been to New York. I went to New York, actually, instead, I went to visit New York when I was looking at schools, and I almost moved there instead of moving to LA. So I spent some time there seeing if I wanted to live there or not.
Same.
And ended up picking LA, but
Same.
I enjoyed it very much.
Yay!
I've been to New York a few times. Like I went, a few times in high school, and then a few times for work more recently. And every single time I took extra time to make sure that I could explore a little bit. And in a weird way, you feel like I never made a dent, right? But I think that everyone is going to feel like that no matter how long you've been there, whether it's, you're there for a week or you're there your whole life. New York is such a big, huge, ever-changing tapestry, and, whatever impact you make there can be washed away very quickly. And so that's kind of what I've been pulling from it, of like the way that the political structure of Kindred can change so quickly and rapidly, and you have to start again. If you spent time making friends with Callahan or something like that, or with the Camarilla, and then that gets washed away and you start again. So like, not actually having spent that much time there, it actually, I think, works as far as I'm concerned.
I'll talk for just a moment about New York and how we got here.
Do it.
But just for a moment, I'm very mindful of time. I know that many of our guests are in the wee hours of the morning in their time zones, and we have many
thank you everybody for sticking around.
Yeah, thanks.
We're all vampires here.
Why this city? New York looms large in the global consciousness. It's one of the few cities where just the mention of the name conjures up strong mental images, no matter where you are in the world. Everybody's got a mental image of New York in their heads. Everybody has an opinion, good or bad, about it. It's one of those cities. It has an indelible mark on, I'd say, the global psyche. And I wanted to tap into that for this story. It's also a very old city as far as American cities go. America is a relatively young country compared to many others in the world, but New York is one of our oldest big cities. And I wanted to contrast LA, which is, of course, a very young, vibrant, new city, in relatively speaking, compared to New York. So I wanted to draw that very, very sharp contrast between the two. I love New York. I can't get enough of it. I visit every chance I get. I would happily live there if I could. And one of the things that always strikes me when I'm there is the sheer verticality of it, not just above our head, but below our feet. It's a city that extends as far underground as it does above us. And that means double the number of cool, weird, scary, interesting stories to tell in a very, very dense, small place. So that's why I chose New York for this particular tale.
Incredible.
That's so good.
Thank you so much for the question.
Incredible.
Thank you so much, guys. And Jason, just thank you for chopped cheese in this episode. Thank you.
Oh my God.
I love a good chopped cheese, and the opinion that some of the best can be found on 133rd Street in the Bronx. But you'll have to draw your own conclusions. Next to the microphone.
Wait, I'm just gonna pop in.
Thank you, Galdor.
I'm here to do this all. I don't sleep. There's no concept of sleep. I'm here to do this all night, but I'm just curious how long you guys would like to go because the list keeps growing.
I mean, it's only 10 here, so it's not a big deal. But like, I mean, obviously not all night.
Yeah, I'm happy to stick around as long as we can make a dent into the list. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just let me know when you're ready, because I'll be here.
Thank
This
you.
is amazing. What we have verbally committed to is a game of chicken. And I will never back down from a bit. So let's go.
I'll leave after Abria does.
Ooh,
oh no. It's starting
No,
again.
you, I just got home. I have food. I'm here forever.
What up, Audrey?
I'm sorry, Jason.
Audrey.zones. Hello, welcome to the microphone. Hello, Audrey.
Dun, dun.
Again, Audrey, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Perhaps you're muted.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps Discord has not selected the proper mic.
We gotta circle back.
I think we do.
Yeah, we'll circle back. If this happens to you, check your settings and your voice, and you can even test your voice. If you're waiting in line, it might be a good idea to do that just to make sure your mic's working.
Make sure you haven't made any deals with Ursula.
Oh,
that too.
Great point. Paragon.
0
Paragon.
1 6.
Well, hello,
Welcome to the
everyone.
What up, guy?
Hello.
This came up very quick, and I did well. Okay. Thank you all for this. World of Darkness has honestly become quite a incredible part of my life. I've become a storyteller for the past 2 years.
Rad.
Very much on the heels of getting inserted into my own game. Well, one of my friends ran a game and has been super emotional during that game, where I played a Nosferatu and related very heavily to Jasper's Strife.
Now again, who is Jasper? Is that the little cutie from the TikTok?
Don't worry about it. Yeah, it's the cutie from the TikToks. That's his entire part left in the world.
That's his gimmick.
My question, though, as a storyteller, I kind of wanted to talk to Jason. One of my biggest things is interested in how you find inspiration to ask the stories that you want to tell. Like, what kind of thought process do you get into to kind of formulate the stories that you are going to tell to your players?
That's an excellent question, and there's no easy way to answer it, because the truth is inspiration comes from innumerable sources, and it changes from day to day. When I'm faced with the opportunity to tell a story deliberately like this, I knew I wanted to tell the New York by Night story. I did a lot to prepare for it. I read a lot of books about New York City. I watched a lot of television shows in which New York was a major setting element, watched a lot of movies. I read role-playing games. I talked to people who live in New York or were from New York. But really, I always circle back to the fundamentals of Vampire. I always want to tell a story about the struggle between humanity and the beast. That's the core of Vampire. And Vampire can be a tremendous amount of fun, of course, to play, but it can also teach us a great deal about what it means to be human by putting us into the shoes of these terrible, terrible monsters, these doomed creatures that have to struggle to retain their humanity. I always come back to that core concept. And so I think to give you the most useful answer, I let myself be open to inspiration by actively looking for it in the source material that's relevant to the story that we're doing. Lots of New York media, and trying to find a way to connect it to that core element of Vampire, humanity versus the beast. That was probably a longer answer than you wanted.
No, but it was a profound one and one that I absolutely appreciate. Thank you so much. But yeah, thank you all again. I'm so excited to see the rest of the season unfold, and
Me too.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, you say that now.
Say that now, but
Yeah,
nice
we're
stuff.
excited too. We don't remember what we did.
I don't know anything.
I don't remember anything that happened.
Hey, fun fact, I got out of the stream exactly as we finished this episode. I don't know what we did.
Hilarious.
You went dancing.
Yeah,
You had a nice night on the town.
Time in the cage. What's up?
Yeah.
I think if you'll allow me for just a moment, I'm going to follow up with my answer to Paragon. So I want to give you something a little bit more concrete and actionable. Even though I have stories in my head that I want to tell and that I get inspiration for, I don't actually start working on them until I talk to the players and ask them, what kind of stories do you want to tell and create with your characters? Are you looking for a tale of action adventure? Do you want this to be a tragic blood opera romance? Is this going to be a tale of spying and infiltration and political skullduggery? And then, after I find out what the players are interested in, then I go back and look at my inspiration notes and try to figure out where those two intersect. Session
And then
0 is where
he starts a story and we change it on him.
No,
yeah,
man.
and then by about
Jason
episode
Carl.
2, and I think you
Jason
can
Carl?
see
Is blood opera still an option? What? Blood opera romance?
I mean, you played the same season I did. Will you tell me? Anyway, I hope that helps.
No, it absolutely does. I'm actually starting to run a Hunter the Reckoning game, and that is kind of in the mentality. Is I have my own ideas of where I want to take it, but I kind of want to sit down for that session 0 and be like, okay, what do y'all want to do?
See, you already know what you're doing. You don't need my help.
Thank you so
again.
much. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Stepping up to the microphone next, Geek Droid 242. Hello.
What up?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, first of all, thank you for the season, the ongoing story. It's great. I'm really enjoying it. Think you're all doing a very good job. Very good.
Thank you.
My question is more sort of the process of doing it. On a scale of sort of playing a game at home with your friends and performing on stage for a show, where does it fit? How does it feel to do this sort of recording thing?
Ooh, that's a good question.
For me? Oh, God, you go.
No, it was just I was filling space. Go.
For me, it absolutely feels farther on the spectrum towards putting on a show, if only because you are like, to me, it feels like improv because you know that this is like forward facing. You have to be extremely deliberate with like the words you choose because you kind of only get one shot at it. And there's like the added, like, I don't want to say the wrong thing or mischaracterize myself because you don't have time like you would in a home game to like re-explain or walk something back. You are held more to the form of television than you would be in a home game where things are looser and you can play a little bit more above table to like sort out ideas and concepts and thoughts and choices.
Yeah, I'd say it's much more close to, live performance than it is to, I mean, look, game mechanics are really critical to helping make the story interesting, but I think first and foremost, you have to think of it kind of like how actors would think about like a live taping like of a sitcom or something where you have to kind of run straight through and like during the break you can pause and kind of talk to each other, but for the most part, once you get going, you got to be very aware of everybody. You got to be aware that you're not talking over someone or upstaging a moment. So, conscientiousness, politeness, and quiet confidence, I would say.
Very much. And I love that there's an energy that comes with, like, obviously we all lived through a period of isolation recently, and many tabletop games still happened via online and via webcam, and that is something I had not a huge problem with in general, but like I couldn't do it.
Yo,
I
let's
need
talk.
the
Let's
ener-
drag the Zoom games. No one
Yeah,
likes them. They were bad and hard.
No. Yeah, they're bad and hard. It's so hard for me I get distracted so easily, and I need to be sitting with other people to play this. I cannot play via online. It's so hard for me. And just that energy you get with sitting with other people at a table, it just feeds my performance so much, and I will give the shittiest performance 100% of the time if I am alone in a room.
For me, it does feel very, very close to a performance, and that's kind of because of how I've always approached RPGs in general. Because when I was in high school, I absolutely knew that I wanted to be an actor, and after I left high school, A, that kind of didn't happen, but B, I found everything behind the camera and started working and building and making films. With more control over of the final product and stuff. But there was always that like itch that I wasn't getting scratched of performing, and finding tabletop RPGs, finding D&D, finding Vampire was what scratched that itch for me, that performer itch, that thing that I missed from improv. So yes, it feels more closer to a performance, but that's what I've always gravitated to, like RPGs for in the first place. So it like all of them are kind of closer to that for me.
That's a great point.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
Awesome question and super interesting answers.
Thanks,
Thank
Geek
you.
Dread.
Yeah,
Thank you, Geek Dread.
thanks.
Multiple choice. Next at the mic, I believe Elvende is next. Elvendi.
Yeah, I think they hopped
Excuse
in
me
next.
if I'm not saying that correctly.
No, you pretty much got it right. Hi.
Hi.
First off, well, I'm going to add to the saying how much I love all of you guys.
Hi.
I got into VTM just almost exactly a year ago with watching LA by Night. So,
Yay!
and have finally bit the bullet of going from playing to running games with becoming a storyteller.
Hell yes.
Very nice.
So,
Let's go.
and very happy to see my beloved Hakata in this show.
Hakata is also one of my favorite clans.
But one of my big things with VTM is I am a massive lore nerd. So I thought I'd ask, for those of you that know the stuff, who is your favorite canon lore character in VTM?
Interesting. I think this might just be us, Jason.
Yep.
I suspected that.
Alex, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. I mean, look, not to stay on brand or anything, but I do love me some Sasha Vikos. I've loved Samizi forever, and they're the quintessential Samizi. So, like, I do love that, but I'm also, let me quickly remember a name. I will come back to me. I have another one. Jason, you go.
It's hard to choose. I've been working with the World of Darkness for so many years, and a lot of the canon characters have meant a great deal to me. I've been able to write for some of them, and others I can only dream of writing for. But if I have to choose an absolute favorite, if I must do so right now, I think my answer will be fairly obvious, and that, of course, is Beckett. He's in many ways the red thread through the history of the modern knights, and his perspective and his mistakes, his errors in judgment, and his misperceptions inform a lot of what we think might be true about kindred lore and the modern knights. But I like the fact that he is fallible, and he knows he's fallible, and that he knows that he is among the unreliable narrators, even as he searches for truth. And I find that very, very appealing as a character.
I can't tell if I'm in love with Nines Rodriguez or Luis Carrazzo, but it's one of the two.
The correct answer is both.
Could be both.
Yeah,
How can,
very
how
fair.
can you go wrong?
Thank you. I will say Sasha and Beckett are two of my favorites as well, though my current big favorite is Roger de Camden. Probably, obviously.
That's awesome.
Even your favorite clan.
Yep.
Anyway, I can't remember their name, but they were Giovanni. So let's go from there.
Thank you very much for your question, taking us down the lore lane.
Thank you for answering.
Approaching the
Nathan
microphone.
Nix.
Yes.
Hi. My question is sort of mainly for Alex, but anyone else, feel free to.
No.
He's like, I want this to myself.
What is it?
As somebody who has never played Vampire and literally bought all of the books yesterday, what sort of advice would you give to someone just getting into the game?
Oh, cool. All right. I mean, the biggest thing for
Sit
Vampire.
down,
for
Alex.
me-
I'll take this one.
Okay.
Okay. Go.
All right.
What was it? The biggest thing for me in Vampire is the point of, at least to me, and this is all, again, everybody has their own way of playing. This is just the way I play. Failure and things going wrong are the most important thing in Vampire, and you need to let yourself enjoy having bad things happen to you. Because if you don't enjoy bad things happening to you, why are you in the world of darkness? Living in the disappointment and frustration or sadness of your character is exceptionally important to not only playing Vampire, but fleshing out a character in general. You can enjoy the moments when they're happy, but you have to also enjoy the moments when they're sad, because that's going to be where they are more often than not, because at least most, in my opinion, most people experience sadness more than they experience true happiness. So if you're going to play a game about a real person, enjoy the times when they're not happy.
Yeah, and I'll say that, like, just to elaborate on it real quick, you might not necessarily have to enjoy it, but you have to appreciate it.
Nah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You don't have to revel in it, but
well, it's fun. Come on.
Good tragedies. Good
You
tragedies.
can.
They can't win.
But also, don't be not to go on a tangent, but don't be glued to exactly what something says. We in New York by Night and in LA by Night, we take liberties. Its rule of cool is always in apply, as Jason says. But don't let just what the book says a clan is about and what a clan does dictate what you do with a clan. If you like a clan, but you're like, I kind of want to try something else, try the thing. Do something weird with the clan. The clans are made up of a bunch of people, and not every person is the same. Someone's chosen for a clan because they have something that is interesting, something that makes them part of that clan, but they're not all the same person. So play the person in the clan, don't play the clan.
Oh, these are great.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are all amazing.
Thank you.
That helps.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Next up at the microphone, Suspense.
Hey, how are you guys doing tonight?
Hi.
It's good to hear. I just wanted to say real quick, cast, crew, mods, you guys have been wonderful all throughout LA by Night and even before that and up to now.
I know, it was pretty great before we started streaming.
Right? Totally. But we, me and my friends actually sit down in Discord every time that the show comes on, and we have a whole night about it, and we're all
That's
engaged and talking about it and like talking for afterwards. So it was actually really cool to come in here and doing this on my birthday was amazing. I loved it.
Happy birthday.
Well, thank you.
That's awesome. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is actually for you, Jason. As someone who has been running campaigns and stuff for years, I've made my own fantasy worlds, like in D&D and stuff like that. Recently, by watching LA by Night and everything else, I've come to learn or wanted to start doing my own games, but I can't, or I want to do them in real life settings like you do in like New York or LA. I want to do it in like closer proximity settings to where I live. How do you prep settings and sceneries, like in creating new areas and ideas? Because like the club, like for instance, that you had tonight with like the cement mixers and the lights, like it's like, you know, massively inspirational that you've like figured out like this weird, cool, like hip way to like incorporate something industrial into like a rave setting. And like how do you come up with those type of ideas for like a brand new building in a city that has already been made in real life?
Great question, and welcome to the storyteller side of the screen. It's a lot of fun. It's scary, but it's really rewarding. I try to approach these things, believe it or not, by doing as little preparation as humanly possible. I don't want to be constrained by too much detail because the story isn't about the detail. It's not about the building or the club or the environment. It's about the characters, and it's about what they do there, their choices, their decisions. I try to create just enough to give us a sense of the time and the place with a lot of leeway to answer specific questions from the players about what's going on. You'll notice when we describe the club, sure, I have a description ready to go, but there's a lot left unsaid too. There's a lot of detail that I could have added but didn't, and that's for the players to help me flesh out through their questions and decisions. I don't always know what's in these places until the players approach and ask. Some of the details of the club I simply invented because we needed to invent them as the characters explored it. But to give you something a little bit more concrete and actionable, if you want to do it the way I do it, I recommend that you steal freely. When I'm watching TV shows or reading books or comics or magazines or watching films, I'll take notes. I'll say, ooh, that's a cool scene. Ooh, I like the lighting here. Or, barber chair in a terrible, disgusting, creepy brick basement. I can use that for something later. I'll jot down a quick note. I always try to have something to write with me, sticky note or a notebook. And eventually you create a big pile of notes and ideas that you can stitch together into detailed settings.
I just want to second that really quick because I do the same thing. My notes app makes me look like a serial killer.
All right. Thank you. That's
no explanation needed there.
Right. Yeah. That's actually
right. And also,
really
she writes
helpful.
notes for
yeah.
for games.
Okay. Actual serial killer vibes. Got it. Also, Alex, when you were yelling at your cat earlier about the candle, I was actually lighting my candle at that time, so I 100% like stopped for a
touch
second
that candle.
and like looked around.
Nobody touch any candles.
Well, it was good talking with you all.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Hopefully, we'll see you all soon.
Thanks.
One real quick question: is LA by Night or not? New York by Night going to Gen Con this year? Just
not that I'm aware of.
Yeah, no idea.
Okay. That was just a question because I was going. So, but thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, Isla Nathi. Did I say that correctly?
Mostly. So, yeah, good morning and hello from Germany.
Hi.
Oh,
hi.
First of all, thanks you for the show, and I absolutely love it and watch every episode of New York and LA by Night so far. I got to say to Jason, I've been and implement it into V5, and now my players are afraid every time they get hungrier.
Yay!
Nice.
So, but my question I would love to see, like, will there be any chance that this will be happening?
I don't know. I mean,
Alex, you.
I assume it's possible. I mean, like, I don't have control over that, but I vote yes.
Yes. So, is your question? Will we have one shots and shorter stories on the World of Darkness streaming channels? Is that right?
Oh yeah, something like that. Just like inviting some random people, or like from lottery or something. So to make like.
We definitely do have more streaming stories coming this year, and I'm not going to reveal what they all are. Some of them are very short, very brief, lasting just a few episodes, and there may be some one-shots as well.
Mysterious.
Thank you.
Serious. Yeah. No spoilers.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So I'm just gonna wait for it.
Yes.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Next, the ominously named Perfect.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hello.
First
Hello,
of
Perfect.
all,
we can hear you. Hello.
oh, thanks. First of all, good evening from Brazil.
Hey.
Hey.
Hola.
I'm excited for every place in the world.
This is so cool.
Same.
Everyone's from places.
My question is kind of two in one because it's both for Jason and the players. The players is what drove you guys to choose the clans you did and play the way you played with the characters. I see so often people saying, "Oh, this clan, tribe, whatever else there is supposed to be like that," and people forget what Alex pointed out, that they are individuals as well. And something I think I catch up is that Jason seemed to enjoy playing Anarchs.
Yeah. I mean, my perception of Jason is tried and true Camarilla, but that's just my perception.
Well, I mean,
both games were Annex.
Yeah. Well, I think then it might be that he likes to let the players play the Anarchs, and it lets him play all the Camarilla side of things.
But
I'll remark about my Anarch versus Camarilla stories last.
Okay.
Let's hear from the players about how they came to choose their clan or their character.
Yeah.
Well, Alex, I know you've been talking about Tzimisce forever. It was Tzimisce and Giovanni, like during LA by Night.
Yeah.
Like, if
the thing.
Jasper ever dies, I'm going to make it Tzimisce.
Yeah, I had backup characters for Jasper because I was certain he was going to die at some point. I was proven wrong, but I had ideas.
You sound so disappointed.
I am. Trust me, I wanted him to die. No, I love Jasper's story. I was very happy with it. But obviously, I've said a number of times Tzimisce has been my favorite. I've always wanted to play with him, but it's because I wanted, not only are they my favorite, but I wanted to get a chance to play them differently than a lot of people play Tzimisce. And without spoiling things, I'm just happy to get the chance to do my concept of Tzimisce instead of what has, in my opinion, been played in the past that is not how I view them as a clan. I have very particular thoughts on them, and I am very interested to get to share those. So I'm looking forward to doing that.
Hell yeah. I'll go next. I'll be brief. It started with the clan, and then I started to think about a story of a person and to pivot and essentially reinvent herself. And after I started with that, that kind of led a lot of my decision making of like, if I was 25 and got a chance to start over with a blank slate, what would I do differently and what kind of person would I be? And then I think that informed a lot of her like very chaotic, kind of reckless energy. And then I just kind of took it to a natural conclusion from there.
I love that. I'll piggyback off of that and just say that since the through line for Ventrue is power, I wanted to tell a story about like the juxtaposition and sort of battling internal versus external power and like individual power versus like community. So for me, like picking Ventrue was the vehicle through which I could tell a story about a character, both like being deeply unempowered. Like she's kind of the dingus in the group that's like, I don't understand anything that's going on. But supposedly by the blood that chose me and embraced me, I'm supposed to inherit this incredible power. So like, let's watch a character come to terms with it and grow into it.
I like that. For me, there was there are like 8 things that aligned to kind of make Ray who he is. So I'm just gonna say a different one each time. But one of the things was really looking at someone who doesn't fit or is being told they don't fit, and defying that. Especially kind of even looking at it in terms of being a minority and being in a world where the world is telling you that there's a way you could be better suited to what you're doing, and you say, no, fuck that, I'm going to do it the way that I am born, the way that I can, and I'm going to do it better than all of y'all. So that's like the mentality that I wanted Ray to have, and then that ended up kind of landing in Corporate Gangrel.
Which is ironically a very Grangle thing to do.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it's gonna work, but that's the idea.
We'll all see how
Damn.
well for your answers about your characters. Perfect. You about how much I the assumption is that they do not want to reinforce the status quo. Now, what they actually may want may well be morally fraught, but that is the purpose of Vampire's various lenses of story, such as its morality and consequence systems. By contrast, the Camarilla is literally a feudal society predicated on an anachronistic combination of will and privilege preservation. The anarchs want to resist that and tear it down, even if they don't have any useful ideas on what could replace it, and even if they continually demonstrate that they are not capable of actually governing themselves. That's a really important tension in Vampire the Masquerade, that desire to challenge the status quo and to erode the foundations of privilege. That's the story that Vampire the Masquerade is telling. So that's why we so often look at anarchs first in our story. I hope that was helpful, or at least entertaining.
TLDR, no one wants to hear stories about the 1%.
Hey.
It was a great.
Hey, I take that personally.
I'm sorry.
No, Jason, it was a great answer. Thank you all very much. I expect to see more of it. Like in the first, I don't know, minutes, I got hooked up
Awesome.
around the
Thank you
story.
very
I mean,
much.
Perfect.
there are people at the bottom rung of the Camarilla.
Ah,
I have a feeling we're going to meet some of them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think your odds are really good that you will meet some of them. Okay, is this a trick? Shimi, Tacoma.
How dare you?
That's amazing.
Flaunt that in my face like that. Take that personally.
Hi,
What do we
welcome
got?
to the
Hi.
microphone.
So first, just a quick little anecdote, like everyone else. So LA by Night got me into VTM, and VTM led me to meeting my boyfriend of 2 years now.
Oh wow!
So-
Congratulations.
My question, between both Chronicles, LA by Night and New York by Night, which character do you think would make the best road trip partner?
Oof.
Oh.
X.
Yeah, X. You'll never get where you're going, but it'll be fun.
I'd say Margot.
Yeah.
Do you actually want to arrive where you're going? And do you want to do so safely?
No.
Look, my definite answer is it's neither of my characters. It's just
No, I think
neither
that-
Jasper
that
nor
much-
Isaac are good traveling companions.
Right.
For very different reasons.
Pick Margot.
I pick Seraph. Yay!
Oh, road trip spinoff.
Ooh!
You guys?
Ooh, maybe I would film that.
drive far north to where it's dark 24 hours.
Let's
Yes,
drive the
please.
Fort
Road trip?
Washington. Blah, blah.
Look, we
Blackout
can't just
windows.
recreate 30 Days of Night.
I was gonna say, yeah, Alaska by night. Two of them.
I mean, with Seraph being a Ravenous, there may be some road trips.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Oh my God, Seraph, do you want to go on a road trip?
Yes, please.
Let's leave these
I-
nerds.
Bye.
Can under very
Bye.
specific circumstances.
Yeah.
Well, that's the first one shot sorted.
Nice.
Darren, baby.
Interesting question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello.
What's up, Nix?
Hello. Hey, Nix.
Hello, hello. I
It's
was
your
wondering,
turn.
Jason, how do you handle experience distribution for Live Play Chronicles?
I handle it differently for different chronicles, and often we cover it during session 0. We talk about how we're going to do story progression through experience points. I'm a big believer in milestone experience rather than per episode or per game experience, but that doesn't always work as well for some stories, especially with a story like this. We only have a certain number of episodes, and we know how many episodes we're going to have. It's time boxed for us. So I determine at the beginning of the chronicle how many points every player gets per story, per game session. Plus, I award a bonus when an important story milestone is reached. So for this particular game session, does anybody remember what we were awarding? I think it was it 2 points per game?
I think
That
so.
sounds
It was-
familiar.
I
Yeah.
think it was, I
Yeah,
think
it was 2 and yeah.
And then started with a bit
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah. But I think it's really important to talk about that with your players and think about how quickly you want characters to gain new traits on their sheet. If you want a really rapid progression, if you want player characters to start acquiring new discipline powers very, very soon in the story, obviously you're going to want to award more experience. If that really isn't a consideration, then you're going to award less. Kind of a wishy-washy answer, but still true.
Yeah. And like we are constrained by production, because if you think about it, we as a coterie have played 8 sessions this year.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you are in one of those amazing games that is able to organize once a week, you're playing a lot more often than we are. So that progression you might want to slow down a little bit more, or if it's harder to, you know, get everyone together, maybe you want to ramp it up a little bit more so that, you know, it feels more rewarding every time you play, that kind of thing.
Definitely. Thank you so much. You are all wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man,
Your
I knew,
Majesty. Hello. Queen Scylla.
I knew if I went to go get a snack that it'd be my turn as soon as I.
What did you get?
You never feed at the right time.
Did you say a rock?
Well,
Oh,
not
ramen. I was like, you're eating a rock?
Queen Scylla, it's rather
mean-
difficult to hear you. Can you perhaps turn up your volume or be closer to your mic?
I can try. Is that better?
Yeah,
that's much
I think
better.
so.
Thank you. Hi, hello. The mic is yours.
So, my question is, I have a I don't want to call him a problem player, but I'm having issues with one of the players in my chronicle. He seems to have an issue with putting himself in situations that are away from like where the action is, and then he gets unmotivated because he's not in the action. And I'm wondering if I can, like, is that a failing on my part? There's also a bit of like disrespect that's starting to happen that I'm not really loving, but
Mhm. So, may I ask you a couple of questions? When you had your, did you have an opportunity to have a session 0 before your chronicle started?
yeah.
Okay.
One of the main issues is that they've specifically designed their characters to be a complete non-combatant. And I did bring that up in the session 0, like, hey, you have no combat skills. Like, do you have a plan for that? And they seem to be selectively like taking decisions to take them away from being able to deal with combat, even with like social skills like compel and presence and whatnot. So I'm not sure what I can be doing.
Not an easy situation, obviously. One of the purposes of the session 0 is, as you know, to establish what everybody's expectations are. Find out what everybody wants from the game. So maybe this player expressed during the session 0 a desire to play the kind of game that the player is attempting to play, but maybe that didn't come up. I'm in favor of continual communication with the players. We have a session 0, but it's okay to have a session 0.5 and a session 1.0 and a session 3, and to talk through these challenges and problems honestly and frankly, but very firmly, especially if it's becoming a problem for everyone else at the table. That's not always easy. Confrontation is difficult and sometimes awkward, and the challenge of it can sometimes lead to conflict that maybe threatens the integrity of the group. But if you're not having fun and your other players aren't having fun, then I think it's definitely time to address it with the player. If you think you can have that conversation safely, openly, and honestly. It's okay to sit down with a player and say, look, I like your character, but what you're doing is not working. It's creating the following problems for me, or it's creating problems for other people at the table. What can we do to bring your character into the story a little bit more completely so that you still have fun and I get to have fun too? And that's the last thing I'll mention. You're also a player at the table, and you are entitled to have as much fun as the players are. You're not there to present them with fun at your own expense. If you're not getting enjoyment out of it, then definitely something is wrong and it needs to be addressed.
Absolutely.
Was that
And
was that at all helpful?
Yeah, I definitely think a temperature check could be done, probably privately first, because they have social
It's a
anxiety
very good
issues.
idea. It's often wise to sit down with a player in these situations privately and talk through it. What they say
yeah,
may surprise you.
I have in a home game, I had a very similar situation to what you are describing. A home game I was DMing, and this is exactly what I did. I went and hung out with the player one-on-one and just talked to them about the game and talked to them about what they wanted and what they were interested in doing and where they thought they were going, and then talked to them a little bit how we could better fold that into the game as a whole. Exactly what Jason was saying.
Yeah, I also think it's important because these people, I don't know them as well. I just met them earlier this year because they're my partner's friends that he's had for a couple years. And I'm more okay than he is because, again, there's started to be this disrespect issue. So
Right.
he's getting angry, and it's a rough situation. So it's delicate.
It can be. I
Collective.
understand. I think the only other thing a thought that I'll leave you with is this. I'm of the opinion that people are much more important than games. And it would be wonderful if every game was perfect and everybody had an equal amount of fun, but that's not always possible. And when there's friction between the value of people in games, I think people should always win out and prevail. It's much more important to protect yourself, your friends, your partner, and the integrity of the value of your time rather than sacrifice your own fun and enjoyment and perhaps even your well-being. Keep a game going that doesn't make sense to keep going.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's also very important with everybody's mental health. That's always going to be more important.
Yeah, I would just
Oh,
want to
absolutely.
quickly say that like a situation like this is not like a failing of a storyteller or even a player. It is, the beauty of RPGs is that people get to make decisions, and that is one of the things that makes them so powerful, but it also means that you don't catch lightning in a bottle always, and it's not necessarily as guaranteedly fun as sitting down and playing a video game. There are sometimes situations like this. So this is, the nature of an RPG, cutting both ways, and being able to kind of accept that this is sometimes a situation and being able to work through it is, I think, part of what makes the moments when people make amazing decisions all the better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did that help?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely probably more I could talk about, but I'm not gonna. There's still probably like 500 questions.
But you got this. You'll figure it out. You just, be open with communication, and you'll find a resolution.
Yeah.
If you're if since you're a member of the Discord, I know that there are channels here on the Discord where you and other storytellers can share stories and information. Might not be a bad idea to raise the issue there and talk about it with some of your storyteller peers. They might have some really interesting and insightful guidance for you.
I don't know why I don't ever think of support channel in several Discords that I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, it's really lonely work being a storyteller, having a community to like go to and talk to, especially when you so often feel like the sole crux of your friend's fun can be hard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
again,
Queen. Oh,
do I
sorry, I didn't
do
mean
I
to
press?
interrupt you.
No, I'm trying to figure out. Do I press the button?
Oh, no worries. No, I think they do that. Oh, they're bye.
Go. Let's see who is next at the microphone.
Sephiroth.
Master Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
What up, guy?
Sephiroth.
I got that first.
Greetings, neonates.
Hello.
Ooh, so scary.
How is this evening treating you all?
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
I
Unfortunately,
can hear him. He's a little soft.
I can hear him very quietly.
Scary. I like it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Turn the volume up if you wish.
Ooh,
Yes, that would.
How about now?
Great.
There we go.
Fantastic. Well, I know it's been a long night for everybody, and currently it is quite warm and breezy here in Florida. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. I mean, there's so much that I would love to talk to you about, but at the same time, as a storyteller of over 20 years, there's a lot of things that I tend to see. One of the skills that I happen to pick up is people reading. You pick up sign language. You are right, Mr. Alex, there's nothing quite like the physical presence of your players. You're able to pick up on that so much, and watching it all on Zoom, for instance, just it's like bagged blood. So, to one of my two questions. As an observer, and someone who is now in my current chronicle at home starting to touch on the Incarno, we're really starting to do verbal and non-verbal cues, some of the things that you see. So as I watch your character, Isaac, I can't help but pick up a little bit on a Hannibal Lecter vibe. So I can't help but be very curious. When are we going to see that thin veneer of civility be ripped away like the false veil that it is?
Okay. Well, I will tell you that there is some things about Isaac that have not come out yet, but you'll just have to wait and
Really, in
see.
episode 2, you haven't told us everything?
I haven't told you everything in episode 2 yet. I know what a monster I am. But no, there are a lot of things inside of him that will come out. And to be exactly truthful, I don't remember which episode they do come out in. So you'll just have to wait and see.
I remember exactly what episode they come out in, and while it's a great question, you're going to have to wait and find out with everybody else.
We love a watch the show answer.
My parting question for Mr. Carl, a production question of all things. I'm wondering, how much old school techniques do you incorporate into this? Specifically, one thing I've been wondering if I'll ever see is the old iconic look from the black and white Count Dracula movies. You see Bela Lugosi have that camera trick where if he goes and uses that stare of his, you know, whenever one of these characters, like Fuego, for instance, uses Dominate, it would be the perfect time to see the light beam that's shining on her face kind of narrowed down to only shining on the eyes, and everything else is in darkness. So it really highlights those eyes and everything.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I'll see that.
I know.
Yeah, Joey, will we see that?
I'm not running the board anymore. I'm playing now.
I know the effect you're talking about. It's a
The Warner
wonderful
Brothers
technique
haircut
that they used. I think we saw it quite often in the Universal horror film, Universal monsters movies of the 1930s. No, you won't see that particular technique. but you'll see
Also,
others.
Morticia Adams rocked it in all of the Addams Family movies.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I mean, honestly, like Jason, now that we're saying it, I do kind of want to set it up. Let's see if we can figure it out. So, Jason, not to step on your chance to answer, but we'll jump in on this a little bit because when we started LA by Night, very little of that shows up in the first season. And as we kept on going, for those of you who don't know, I was running the lighting board for a lot of LA by Night and ended up kind of directing for season 4 and 5. And myself and Holly, who was our technical director, who did many of the in engine effects, and Jose, who was doing all the sound. The three of us were sitting back there during seasons 1 and 2 of LA by Night and kind of just went, well, we want to play too. So we just started to figure out ways that the systems that we were using at the time could incorporate, interaction. And so that's where, the lighting changes came from. That's where the obfuscate abilities came from. That's where the interactive music came from, because the story that they were telling was so engrossing that we wanted to play.
I want to make sure I mention this. It was something Joey just said. I don't know if you all know this. The music is live. It is being scored live while we are playing. I don't know if you all realize that. That is something that is happening. That is not just stuff we added in post. Jose is scoring the show while we are sitting there.
Yeah. He's mixing tracks and building that as he goes.
Yeah, you can see me and Mayana actively dancing to it. Several times.
Love it. And as a forever DM, I completely understand.
Didn't catch that.
I was praising him. I was saying that is phenomenal to hear that. And as a forever DM, I completely understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, well, thank you for the questions.
Thanks for your questions.
Thank you.
You are all most welcome and have a wonderful evening.
You
Good
too.
night.
Good night.
Shock of Ages.
Hello.
What up?
Hello. Oh, hello.
Yo.
It was just so clear. It was so.
I'm happy
you
I
had
can
to
be
crank the volume back down.
Yeah.
So before I give my question, because my question is primarily for the players, partially because of that, and partially because I have barely any friends who even know what Vampire the Masquerade is, let alone follow these chronicles. I just want to make a remark to Jason. I might as well tell the man himself, because I can't remark to anyone else. The vocal inflections, Jason, that you give all the NPCs is so unparalleled by anyone I've ever heard. And the way you bring these characters to life just boggles my mind. Because you have such a unique quality to your voice, and yet you can make all of them so unique. It's amazing to me.
Wow, thank you very much. That's high praise indeed. I would blame it on the coffee, but it's probably mostly desperation, really. But truly, I appreciate that. I don't have any formal training as an actor or a voice actor or anything like that. So whatever is working because this is just the way I do it. I have been a LARPer for many, many years, though, and I think that helped considerably with my storytelling technique, starting with LA by Night and what you're seeing now. Thank you.
I feel like we often forget that, Jason, you are standing on par with professional voice actors and professional improvers in this space.
Hell yeah!
And
Mostly
you're
I'm just
blow for blow with them.
Yeah,
it's amazing to me. And in that vein, actually, of what Joey said, my question is, I've tried actually to get into a bunch of continuous story, continuous tabletop role-playing shows that are streamed online, and I have been able to get into very, very few of them. But LA by Night and now New York by Night is one of them. to me, it has this like very unique, serious tone to it that I've never seen before. So my question is, versus whatever you guys have played on shows or at home or anything, is there anything like really unique about LA/New York by Night that draws you into feeling this unique feeling for this specific chronicle?
Oh yeah, I mean it's brutal. Like it's especially compared to the other tabletop stuff that I've played, it's very, very harrowing. And at every turn, it's you get pulled in this direction of like you want things to go well, but you know that they can't. And that can be very compelling, and that's very challenging and interesting. And so I think like finding the pockets of goodness in this overwhelmingly like dire situation, that's like fun to fight for. And when you don't get to have it, you want it that much more, and you're fighting to get those little moments back. And I think that's a very fun cycle to kind of get stuck in sometimes.
My house is a robot. Yeah. So, what was my answer?
Help!
Yeah,
I was teasing my dog. What's the question?
Help! I started and I didn't know where I was going. So the mood of the game. Right, there we are. LA by Night was the first tabletop RPG I ever streamed. I had never done it before. I got brought in because I had met Jason once in my life before that, I think. And I was friends with people who worked at Geek and Sundry, and they contacted me about this game. And I had loved Vampire, so I was like, yeah, I'll play a game of Vampire. I hadn't really considered that I'd be playing it in front of a bunch of people. Really? So I had nothing to compare it to as far as like how these things work. I knew my friends had started this thing called Critical Role. I had kind of watched it at the time. I didn't really have like a understanding of what I was getting into. And then we just kind of found the tone of that show via playing it. There was no, other than knowing that this is a dark game because we're playing Vampire, there was no like, this is the beats we're going to hit. This is how the vibe is going to be. And mostly it came off of how Jason ran the game. We took our cues from him and the tone he set. So that's where it comes from, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, there are very few, like there is a lot of the space is lighthearted and happy-go-lucky, and there are many talented people who can jump into that so quickly and make jokes, make one-liners and things like that, and switching gears to do something serious. Like I think everyone that we've worked with is capable of, and they can totally do it. And there are many performers out there who I'd love to see do the serious side of things, but sometimes it just takes a lot to switch your mindset and into that. So I think it's why it's hard for a lot of people to start a project like that, whereas LA by Night and New York by Night were already so much in that vibe, so that when someone new comes in, they can kind of like match the tone of the room a lot easier. And so kind of we set a precedent early on and have just continued it, whereas starting one, you had to have to very, very consciously make that decision.
Did Abria say she didn't hear the question?
Sorry, I'm fighting my dog to the death right now for my favorite bra. Ah, God, I'm losing. What's the question?
So, yes, Abria, the question was, what is your favorite shape of pasta?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, the squiggle ones.
Bow tie.
Bow tie. It's the little macaronis. No, what's the question? Something about tone.
It was what sets this chronicle apart, like in uniqueness from all the other tabletop games that you've played, or in your case, have run, because you're in 20 million games.
Oh, yay. I actually love this question because I have thoughts. Forgive me for sounding vaguely out of breath. I'm losing. I think because of the way the mechanics of vampire work, you have to live in a tone of personal horror, and it's hard to live in horror tones for long amounts of time. And that's where I think LA by Night was so beautiful in its like having flexible, improvisationally trained actors who can both like live in the darkness and understand that at some point, like the darkness will give way to absurdity, and there have to be lighthearted moments. So I think Jason and everyone involved in the curation of the like by night games have figured out the like that perfect blend of personal horror and darkness, but like leaving space and breath for what people actually do, which is like find those little moments of connectivity and lightheartedness and joy, even in the midst of like dark storytelling. I don't know if that answered your question. I did lose the bra. I just need everyone to know I'm down one. So I'm going to be starting a GoFundMe to replace this.
Also, I just want to add in that wagon wheel is the best pasta.
Bow tie.
You are wrong. Get out.
No, fucking wagon wheels, man. Anyway, I have no idea if I answered your question or not.
Oh no!
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, fantastic answers and very insightful pasta answers.
Chaos.
The answers will get loopier and loopier as the night goes on.
A cup of hot cocoa. I can be here forever. I'm just saying, Joey. We're gonna be here for the rest of the
I'm
night.
down to be here a while. Jason, if you feel like you need to retire and you want us to continue fielding questions, we're happy to do so.
I'm going to stick it out till probably around midnight LA time. About another 45 minutes for me.
Oh my God! Look at us.
Hey, so
let's go.
Let's pass the mic to Hill.
Thanks, guys.
What up, Hill?
Hello, Hill.
Hill,
One
what's your favorite type
second.
of pasta?
Galador.
Hi. 1 second. I just want to let people know that if they've already asked a question, they're going to go lower in the priority so that we can let people who haven't asked, since the next person has asked.
Yes.
Just so they know.
Good policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hill.
Hey, does gnocchi count as pasta? It's like a pasta.
Yeah.
But it's potatoes. That's
Yes, it counts.
Yeah, no, 100% of pasta.
It's
You know what?
Also-
No, I'm gonna be different. It doesn't count.
What? Get out of here.
Okay, and I was just gonna say
I'm rooting
thank
for
you
the dog
reading
now.
my ridiculous XU calamity poetry, but now I don't know if I want to be nice.
All right, I'll allow it. Gnocchi's delicious.
Okay,
It's correct.
Okay. Thank you for being super cool, Abria. Okay, what I was gonna say actually, because I'm a poet and I think in sensory things, there was a moment tonight where someone was talking about like someone being in their personal space and like how they smelled, and I was thinking, what is a like sensory experience, like a smell, a taste, a type of weather, some kind of like thing you would feel that would be nostalgic for your character or that like makes you think of your character?
Oh, damn, that's a great question.
I'm not asking this because I plan to
I
write
love
more
this.
fan poetry, I promise.
I think you're
That's
lying.
such a good question, though. Fuck.
I got one. Isaac, it would be the feeling of like wet clay.
Ooh. Oh, that's really good.
That's not unnerving.
That's really good, but I don't think you should say why. Not yet.
Yeah, I won't say why. But
Yeah.
that would be a sensory experience for him.
For Seraph, it's probably oil paint.
Oh.
But I won't say why.
Yeah. For Ray, it's hard to say that it's not cigar smoke because that will
Aw.
definitely be a big part of it. But also just the smell of concrete in a rainstorm is something so New York to me, and something so like it's something that I so associate with like a New York struggle of like, yeah, you're here and you're in a miserable position. This is that smell that comes out anytime it's raining and you're stuck in the rain and you're like, well, damn it.
Oh. Fuegos has to be feeling someone else's like heartbeat when you're very, very close to them.
Ooh.
Damn.
This is gonna be a good poem.
Yeah.
Those answers.
It's just gonna be on top of spaghetti.
On top of gnocchi. It's on top
Hill,
of
where are you going to
wacko
publish this
pasta.
poem so that we can all see it?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I usually just throw things on Twitter and like tag people. I can tag you if you want.
Great.
I don't know.
If you
I
don't
love that.
tag me, I will fight you
Perfect.
and
Well,
yell.
I tagged you on the Laren and Loquacious one, so I will definitely tag you on this one.
Oh hell
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Perfect.
It's like way to threaten fans.
I'm a bully.
Now I kind of want to know what the
everyone
threat
knows
was,
that.
though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're like tactile things or something like that. Like a lot of people do music and stuff like that, but tactile things are a big thing for me. I'm a very tactile person, so like
I'm so glad
that's
someone got
something.
it. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks so much.
Hell yeah.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
That's
you.
a dope question.
Yes.
It's a really good question.
Yeah, they
Okay.
slap.
I'm trying to think of what Jasper's is.
Nah.
We're
Who's
going to move the
Jasper?
mic over now.
Look, we've been over this.
Oh, the
Xander.
TikTok cutie. That's
Trying
right.
to read.
Uh,
Is it Xander Crit?
Hello.
What up?
hello.
Hi.
Hello, Xander Crit.
Oh my
Hello.
god. It's finally happening. I'm gonna try not to fanboy really hard right now. I just wanted to say that you guys are awesome and like such a huge inspiration to me. Like I live for your show.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and like Jason Carl, a friend of mine, is a storyteller for my group, for our coterie, and like you're such a huge inspiration to him. Like he's a big fan of your style. My question for Jason is: you, the storyteller, played as Baron Abrams in LA by Night last time. Will we be seeing you play a character in this chronicle eventually? At some point in the future.
Ooh,
That's true. Yeah. Like outside of being the storyteller, you did step up to like actually in a scene play Abrams.
Well, Xander Crit, first of all, thank you for the very kind words. It really means everything to us when we know that our stories can inspire other people to create and share their own stories. Pretty much the best thing. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. Do I step outside and play a character in this chronicle? I'm thinking about the 8 episodes in the Anarch story and the episodes in the Camarilla story. Yes, but not in the same way that I did with Isaac Hayes. You'll find out another.
All right. And
sorry to be mysterious, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
No, I totally understand. And I guess this other one can go to anyone, really. Which person would you want to play vampire with who has or hasn't guested on the show yet?
Oh man.
Ooh, a good question.
I mean, I will not. I'm going to preface this and say, other than people I already have ideas of wanting to be on the show for specific reasons.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna not to spoil anyone who may or may not be on the show in the future. Who would I want to be in the show?
I want
We're
Taika
all
Waititi.
thinking.
Yeah.
There we go.
I want Taika,
Oh.
and he has to like run dark the entire time.
Yeah. We joked early on about trying to get Nicolas Cage to be my sire. Which I think would be amazing.
This year. Unhinged.
I want Joe Pera or Nathan Fielder.
Oh wow.
I'm not Googling those names right now.
I definitely want to play with like so many of the people from LA by Night. Like, I want to play with Ivan. I want to play with just like there's so many good performances, and especially like early on too that like didn't get to really come back. It's like, okay, hey, wait, we can do a new character now. You can come back.
Yeah, no, if we're talking about people who were on LA by Night that I didn't really get a chance to play with, I want to play with Luis. I didn't really get a chance to play with Luis. Isaac and Luis never really met.
Yeah.
You mean Jasper?
Jasper.
Yep, that's
You mean
exactly
who?
what I meant.
Bada bang.
Who's Jasper?
The little cutie from the TikToks.
Just taking a little sippy.
A little sippy. Oh no.
Damn.
I want to play with Matt as Beckett.
Yeah. I love him
yeah.
back as Beckett.
Matt wants to play with Matt as Beckett. Like,
yeah.
I'm sure he wants to do that again.
A serious answer, I'd want to play with Brennan because I think he'd make
Yeah.
my head hurt.
Oh my
And-
God.
Overrated. No, I'm kidding. He's great.
Brennan, in like the first 30 seconds of watching him like on that table, I was just like, oh, because that was literally the first time I'd ever seen him play anything. I hadn't paid attention to Dimension 20 or anything like that, and I watched him just like make a decision so quickly, and I'm like, oh.
You know what I
All
want
right.
to never do? Be on the other side of philosophical Brennan. I don't want
Yeah.
to get dog walked about
I'm ready.
dogma.
I'm
Are
ready
you
to get my
kidding
brain
me?
Oh my
broke.
god.
Golly.
No, that I do, but that's the part of me that loves losing.
I was
Like-
gonna say, like, I've watched Taliesin outthink people many times, and then watching someone like walk a circle around Taliesin's like thought process, and watch Taliesin just go, damn it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is intimidating.
I like
yeah,
it.
he's real good. Yeah, I guess I think we answered the question.
Good question, Xander Kret. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Thank you guys
That
so
was
much. And also one more thing, Abria, I loved you in EXU Calamity and just EXU in general. You're like so amazing. Like you and Sam played such a fantastic like married couple. It was so hilarious. I loved it so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you all so much. All right,
Thank
y'all
you.
have a good night. Take care.
You.
Also,
Dusty.
to go back,
Whoop.
Jasper's tactile sensation is like freezing cold water.
Nice.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
good.
yeah, and knowing the
That's-
yes,
Yeah.
Appropriate. Dusty Pineapple, are you ready to take the mic?
Admittedly a little nervous, but ready all nonetheless.
That's okay. You got this.
Me too.
okay, we've never done this before, so we're nervous too.
First, I just wanted to thank you guys so much, and the moderators as well, for sticking around and answering all of our questions. It's been really wonderful. And also just like a general thanks. The Chronicle is so amazing. You guys bring so much vampiric joy into my life every week. LA by Night was so amazing, and got me through a really lonely time during the pandemic, and so now I'm glad to be much happier and still experiencing the vampire joy with New York by Night.
Good, I'm glad.
But one of my weirdly favorite things so far has been the atrophied granola bar that was in Fuego's purse in episode 1. And so that's actually
the most
kind of where
relatable
my
thing.
question comes from. I was wondering if Coterie has any like kind of mundane human habits that they haven't quite been able to shake yet, or if that's something you guys have thought about.
Mundane human habits, you said?
Yeah.
Like
Probably a lot.
weird
We're all
stuff,
pretty
like,
young.
That. Yeah.
I mean, yes, I can think of at least one for each of you, but let's try to be careful not to give things away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Fuego is sort of she's deeply in her still not releasing that human side of her pocket. So like the granola bar is just one of several that will pop up that feel very silly, but she's just like, I don't know, I'm still just trying to be a person, and hasn't learned to transition herself into like what being a kindred is. I think she also reapplies like lip gloss or like chapstick a lot. Like, you know, the one that isn't important anymore. But she was like, I don't know, man. Do kindred's lips get chapped? I don't know how any of this works. I hate this.
Seraph enjoys the camaraderie around a food truck, even though she cannot eat at one anymore. But
Dang
she
it, I
likes
like that.
she likes that people gather
so
around
good.
the food truck.
The spirit of the food truck.
That's so funny. God, Isaac still showers every day.
Whoa.
That's weird. That's so weird that I hadn't thought of that, and that's that I don't know why that creeps me out, Alex. Like
it's because it's Isaac. That's why.
Right. I think anything that Isaac was gonna do was gonna creep me out, but that.
That is wild.
I mean, good hygiene is part of good manners. That's just understandable.
Yeah, exactly.
That's yes. I don't know. For Ray, I mean, there's like one or two that I don't want to share, but I don't know. I think for Ray, it's gonna be not grooming habits, but little things of like, you know, like breaking in a new pair of shoes so that they don't hurt when you walk in them for the first time, but realistically your feet aren't going to hurt anymore as a kindred. If you go walk in a new pair of shoes, that's probably not going to do enough to really hurt a kindred.
Yeah.
So
It's
like,
half
you know,
as
like
much
little
damage.
things like that. Yeah, right. You can walk twice as far. Yes. Yeah,
That's
look out,
stupid.
Comic-Con. Could walk twice as far. But yeah, there are a couple that'll, you know, kind of pop up throughout the season, I think.
Good question, Dusty Pineapple. Thank you. Pardon me, my voice is starting to fade out a little bit. Mistfalk. Hello.
What up?
Hello. I'm from Latvia.
Hello.
It's almost 10 a.m. And
Oh my
today's
gosh. Thank
show-
you for sticking with us. Thank you for waking up
And-
early this morning
you.
to watch.
I didn't wake up. I stayed all night.
Hey! You were
And
the
today's
best.
show and Q&A are totally worth the stay. I have a question for Jason Carroll. I was a storyteller teller some time ago, around 10 years ago, when I was a bit younger. But that became tiresome, and I took a break for some time. Away by Night became inspiration to take the mantle again, and thank you and all the cast for that. And I stole so much ideas. So the question: how you make sure that story you wrote is good and preparation and the preparation that you did is enough for the session?
Great question.
Yeah, how do you make sure it's good, Jason?
Yeah, Jason,
Go
what
on.
do you do?
Yeah.
Spill that sauce.
So, first of all, thank you, Miss Falk, and I'm glad that you found inspiration from LA by Night. I very much appreciate that. How do I know if it's good? The answer is I don't. Not really. It's good when everybody has fun, everybody engages with the story resonates with our community and our audience, and we tell a great vampire story safely. And that's how you know when it's good. You don't really know if it is until you do it. I'll illustrate by way of using LA by Night. When I conceived of LA by Night, there weren't that many comparable streaming shows for tabletop RPGs at the time. It doesn't seem possible, right? Because we live in this wonderful golden age of tabletop role-playing games, and there are incredible, amazing, extraordinary actual play streams happening every day. But at the time, there weren't that many. So I didn't have a lot of examples to follow. And I'd never done it before. And as I mentioned, I don't have any training as an actor of any kind. So I didn't know if it would work. I wrote a story that I thought would resonate with our community and that I thought would be fun. But until we actually did it, I didn't have any way of knowing if it would actually do what I hoped it would. So that might not be quite as helpful to you as you hoped for, but it's the truth. But here's the true answer. You check in with your players and you make sure everybody's having fun. Continuous communication. It's perfectly okay to ask, is everybody having fun? Is there anything we could do to make the game more enjoyable? Is it working for you? And I think that if you keep those lines of communication open, you won't have any problem telling fun stories.
Hey, Jason, can I actually elaborate on that question a little bit? Because I think one of the hardest things for storytellers and GMs and DMs is figuring out how much or how little for a session. So like when you're thinking of like pacing for especially something that is so rigorously down to a certain amount of time, is there like a unit of measure that you think of when you're thinking of story beats and what you're preparing for us?
Yes, but I don't want to share it with you in case you figure out what I'm doing.
Mysterious. Mysterious.
I don't want you to I don't want you to be able to anticipate the story beat.
Big thank you for answer. I keep communication with my players. I ask them after each session. And they seem to be happy. At least they say so. At least they say so. Big thank you, everyone, and you are all amazing.
You're amazing.
You're amazing.
And if your players are having a good time and that's what they tell you, you're doing
Hell
it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
I have an okay time on this show.
I'm glad to know
I think
that.
our show needs more gnocchi. There, I've said it.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you,
have
Miss
Freddy
Cole.
Spaghetti. We need someone else. I was trying to think of a name. It didn't work.
Needs more wagon wheel
Hoagie
pasta.
Gnocchi.
Yeah.
I love wagon wheel pasta.
Next up at the microphone, Helianthus B.
Hey.
Hello.
What up?
Hello.
Hello.
I first want to say I'm very new to like the world of Vampire the Masquerade, and I learned
Oh,
best.
welcome to the family.
Thank you. I learned best by watching other people play, so being able to have like the opportunity of having shows like LA by Night and now New York by Night is very helpful for me. But my question is if each of your characters could do anything without repercussions for like 24 hours, what would they do?
Ag Richter's building. That's it.
Amazing.
I feel like Alex and my answers might actually be very similar, which is own so many things, but for different reasons.
Fair. I don't know. For Isaac, there's probably a lot of things, and a lot of them I'm not going to say because I don't know if Isaac cares about the consequences of his actions.
Ooh, a bad
fun.
boy.
But I honestly, there's nothing I can say right now that's not going to possibly be a spoiler. So
Then
I'm just
don't,
going to leave it
yeah.
at that.
I'm also dealing with that problem that Fuego, the thing that Fuego wants, if she got, I'm just gonna shut up. Crimes. So many crimes.
And I do
Yeah,
have
great question, Helianthus B, but unfortunately,
It's such a good
it
question.
might spoil things if we said.
I do have a follow-up. What is y'all's
Oh,
like
thank
favorite
goodness.
piece of like media that revolves around like vampires, whether like books or movies?
Ooh,
Great question.
Good one.
Trying so hard not to say what we do in the shadows.
There's this Disney Channel original movie where
Oh my God.
one of the moms, the mom is one of the aunts from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and she's like divorced, and she goes on dates with this guy, and he's a vampire, and the son is like, he's a vampire, and the mom's like, no, he's not, and then he almost eats her, and the son has to defeat him at like a carnival. I think that one's my favorite.
I remember the one you're talking about. But
Right?
yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but it's like my
Someone
mom's
put a
dating
gif
a
of it in
vampire.
chat.
Amazing.
Yeah. KJ, quick with the gifs.
Ooh, you almost said that's a scary way.
Yeah, I know.
yeah. The scary way.
Darn it! It's Helsing Ultimate Abridged.
Yeah, there you go.
Ooh, yeah.
Amazing.
God,
And
for,
Helsing Ultimate too. Just normal Helsing Ultimate is also really good.
It is great. For Isaac, I inadvertently, Jasper was very close to Only Lovers Left Alive.
Ooh.
I didn't really know. I didn't really notice until after I made him, and it had been like 5 seasons, and then I watched the movie again. I was like, oh shit. But for Isaac, piece of media that in general I love. I'm a big, however polarizing it may be, I am a big fan of 30 Days of Night, the comic and the film. I am also very much a fan of the Strain series by Guillermo del Toro. It's a very good set of books.
Hell yes. Also, Vampires versus the Bronx on Netflix. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, Near Dark is also excellent.
Yeah. Weirdly, and I've already made the joke answer on Club Aspects. It's not Twilight. Let the Right One In, I think is.
Oh,
yeah. Look, I watch a lot of vampire movies. It's hard for me to pick one.
Unfair question. but
Outstar,
great
get that
question
Morbius
nonetheless.
bullshit out of here.
I changed my answer to Morbius.
Of course.
And on that note, thank you very much for your question. We're going to pass the mic to
I'm back.
that writer chick.
Hi,
there's Gallo.
I'm back to let you know we're gonna end at midnight, so that's
Yes.
in 16 minutes. So this will probably be our last question, depending on
Okay.
time. And I'm back out, leaving. Bye.
Thank you.
Hi from Australia.
What up?
Hello.
I mean, it's 4:45 for me. It's not that bad.
Thank you for staying up so late.
Oh yeah, totally. So I firstly wanted to say I love LA by Night. My partner and I love it so much we haven't been able to finish watching season 5 because we don't want to finish the journey. And also wanted to say to Alex specifically, don't sell yourself short because the most I've ever cried in an RPG was in Eclipse. So clearly, even over Skype, you're doing something, right?
Oh my god!
That without spoiling it, that last episode, my heart.
Well, thank you.
But I did want to know. Well, Jason is an absolutely amazing storyteller. I really enjoyed No Vacancy, and I was wondering when we're going to see more of Alex or a variety of STs on the channel.
Oof. I don't know. We'll have to see what the future holds. I have nothing really planned right now, but it isn't. I enjoy storytelling on occasion, so it is possible for the future.
The idea. Let's do
You
it.
got to do a road
All
trip one shot.
Yeah.
Me
Yeah.
and Margot, and you're the storyteller.
Yeah. So Isaac doesn't get to come.
And Joey Rasul is the hitchhiker we pick up. Thelma Louise. Yeah, you be the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know a lot about cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, no vacancy was fun.
So I can play one.
No Vacancy was just a little thing that I wanted to do because we were all locked away inside, and it was fun. I enjoyed it. I have a very different. That was a very different style than even I usually storytell in, so it was fun for me. I enjoyed it. So maybe in the future I'll do another thing.
That was also the first version of Ray. That was like
It was the
proto-Ray.
first version of Ray.
I was really curious to know whether Ray was like a build on from that character because I was like, oh, I see things. I see like parallels between those characters.
Yeah,
And I love
you
that
know.
character, by the way, Joey. He was my favorite other than Kara because the pants thing.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, that was a lot. I had a lot of fun with that game. I'd love to do another one.
Yay! Thank you so much for asking my questions and for making such amazing content. It
thank
means
you.
a huge amount.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hey, we
Yeah.
do have time for one or two more questions. This is great.
All right.
I think Kyle is next. Hello, Kyle.
What up?
Hey there, everybody. I will make this quick. So, as we're all kind of aware, because you guys have said it too, clans have kind of stereotypes, and this is more for Joey, of course, because he's playing the corporate gangrel. But anyone else could answer. What drew you to looking at the gangrel that is usually stereotyped as more, animalistic and going, no, he's gonna take what the Ventrue do and shove it back in their face and tell them that I'm better than you.
Wait, is that what you're doing? How fucking rude of you!
Oh yeah, you're gonna love this because I mean, no, honestly, there was a part of me that was like, I want to argue with B-Dave so bad. Watching him play Ventrue, and it was kind of this idea of, if you fill a boardroom with Kindred, there's no way that all of them are Ventrue, like every single one. And so like going from that idea, started to think about this like creature whose hunting ground is a boardroom, and that idea of being able to like sniff out the weakness in people and find like that's the hunt for a corporate gangrel. And that's not where Ray's life is kind of leading right now, but that's where the basis came from. It's really just like Travis Willingham in real life, just like how Travis runs business. That's really the inspiration for Ray.
Hell yeah!
There we go.
Oh, that's
Cool.
so good.
That's awesome. As a, as probably the resident or one of the resident Sword of Cain members, City Gangrel are some of my favorite. So to see kind of an iteration of that is really fun to see. So thank you.
Yeah, appreciate
That's
it.
awesome.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
All right, we got 1 minute.
Yeah.
No, we got 11 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's how time works.
Alex is in a different time zone.
Got
That's 10
excited.
minutes ahead.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm just 10 minutes
Alex
behind.
is in the time zone 10 minutes east of us.
Who is that? I think it's
Coleslaw.
Victoria's Coleslaw.
Oh,
Oh,
bye.
bye.
Nope, perhaps not.
Come back.
There we go.
Hey.
Hello.
Great.
Hey.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, now we
Okay,
can.
sorry.
Hello.
I turned my audio off and I was like, I think you can hear me. I can't hear you.
Hey.
So I'll try to keep this quick. First of all, Jason, I want to thank you a lot because I've been doing some research over tabletop games, and some people have reached out to me and like let me interview them and stuff, and they've been like, yeah, I saw like Jason interact with your tweets. So like thank you so much for that. My main
Thank you.
question, just because I think it'll be just fast and quick, is I was wondering if you guys have any like headcanons about your characters and like maybe their favorite things or like activities that they enjoy.
Ooh,
Like
headcanon.
minor little things. Ooh.
Seraph really likes sneakers.
Nice.
She likes all the sneakers.
The first thing Fuego does when she wakes up at night is redoes her manicure.
Nice.
Oh my god. So much time.
Now she's really good at it.
God, that's a good question. What the hell does Isaac like?
Taking showers, apparently, you
Yeah.
psychopath.
What? It's a totally normal thing. I love showers. Showers are great. Now, if I said baths, that would be a different thing.
I just love the
Whoa.
idea that also like there's there's no way that your building has like proper plumbing.
It totally does. Yeah,
It
it's really orange water.
It's awful.
What is Isaac?
It's on cold too.
Yeah. Well, it's body temperature for him.
Exactly. He can't tell.
You can't tell the difference. You know what? It still showers. That's my answer.
Perfect.
Yeah, for Ray, Ray doesn't know anything about cars. I like cars. I work on cars, and I swore that I wasn't going to be the car guy in this. So I was like, Ray doesn't know a thing about cars.
Anything I say about cars is because I asked Joey.
I love it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Still got some time left.
Yeah,
Your inner idiot. Hello.
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 I talk to
hi.
him all the time.
Ooh, great, Mike.
Yeah, we talk often. I know.
Yeah.
It's mainly a question for Jason, though anyone can answer.
Fine.
What are some good tips on playing an elder character in Vampire the Masquerade, either as a GM or a player? Because it can be kind of hard to grasp how a 1,000-year-old person would think when we're not even like 5% of that.
It is a good question, and I agree. It's not easy to wrap our heads around what it must be like to be ancient in that sense. But I think we can begin to touch a little bit by drawing on our own experiences. We're finite beings, and our memories are imperfect. We don't remember perfectly everything that happened to us last year, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. That's partly because we're still developing as people, but it's also because our minds simply don't work that way. We don't have perfect recall about every aspect of our life. Now, extend that forward in time, a dozen years, 50 years, 100 years. Elders don't have perfect recall either. We think of them mistakenly as beings of incredible experience, which is true, but also we think of them as somehow strategic or tactically perfect in their decisions, and they're not. They don't remember everything perfectly either, and they tend to stick with what they know. They're static creatures. All vampires are. They're kind of frozen in time. And the older they get, the more difficult it is for them to change and adapt. Not impossible, but harder. So elders simply have a different mindset because they can't maintain contact with their human self perfectly for that much longer. Think of an elder more as a creature partly of instinct. They tend to default to what they know because it makes them feel safe and protected, even when it clashes with what they should be doing in the modern nights. And also try to think about them as a creature that has everything to lose. They don't want to give up their their immortality for foolish gains or fleeting pleasures. They tend to be even more cautious than young vampires who are easier to kill. By the time you reach 500 years or 1,000 years, you are unwilling to give up a single night that you don't have to. And so you take even greater care than the young do to make sure that you don't have to take those risks. Was that helpful?
Yeah, honestly, that was very helpful. I'm just starting to play my first elder character as a player, so just wanted to have a little bit of advice for it.
Well, I hope that was helpful.
And just one quick thing I want to say to Abria. You might be an inspiration to many DMs everywhere, including myself. But I swear to God, if you dare talk bad about Brennan, I'll do something.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you. For what it's worth, Brendan is one of my favorite people in the world. That's my bestie. So all shit talking is done with infinite love and admiration.
You're gonna make me cry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What might be our last question tonight? We'll see.
Hell yeah.
Exemplar.
Okay,
Hello.
I just need to I have to say it. I have 2% battery. We're gonna see if we make it, but if I disappear, I'm sorry. I didn't plan properly.
That's okay.
Exemplar, ask fast.
Go.
Oh, yeah, no worries. I just want to say I love you all. I'll try and make this quick. It's not exactly a quick question, but I'll try.
No worries.
If you could create any character in lore, whether it be the ones you're currently making now or ones in the future, if they could be remembered for anything in the lore, what would it be?
Ooh. Abria, you go first.
No, God. Oh God. I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking. It's okay. I'm not gonna my phone won't die.
Yeah, you got 2%. I don't look. That's an interesting question because the things that a character is remembered by are not necessarily the things you set out for them to be remembered by. If that makes any sense. Because what they're remembered for is based upon the people who view them. Like, there are things about Jasper that I think are the most memorable parts of Jasper. They are not what people remember of Jasper. You know, exactly. Jasper is remembered for being hot. That is not how I remember Jasper. It's not even how I see Jasper in my head, but that is what the fans have said Jasper is. So therefore, that is what Jasper is remembered by, or remembered for. But I guess for Isaac to be remembered for anything would be just being a compelling take on what a Tzimisce can be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ray is still getting to grips with Kindred Life, but I think being remembered is a big driving force for Ray, and I think we're starting to get into the fact that he's left his living life for his Kindred Life, and the impact that he had on the world. He is going to, over the course of his unlife, watch that fade and have to make a new impression. So I don't know what it would necessarily be, but he is driven by leaving an impact.
Ooh, that's very cool.
I'll go very quickly. I think maybe not for Seraph, but lore wise, if there was a Ravnos character that I would want to have, like, after, I think it's called the Week of Nightmares, like whatever that recovery effort was like, because I think that was when the Ravnos like took the biggest hit to their like numbers. So like what those first recovery efforts were like, and those like people who were able to keep the clan going in the immediate aftermath of that, I would be very intrigued to develop a character around that stuff.
Dope. I think we are seeing the like beginnings of Fuego's like protectiveness of her community in the Bronx. I think if she were to be remembered for something, it would be effectively protecting and like gathering in her so-called community in New York, and whatever that means in the future.
I was so tempted to drag you out of chat and make it look like your phone died.
Oh no.
Damn it.
Honestly, I was half expecting it to cut out midway through her answer.
I have
Big secret
1%.
is
We made it. It's midnight. We did it.
We did it.
You made it.
I
You made it. Thank you, Exemplar. That was the final question of the night.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you for sticking
Thank
around.
Thank you for staying for this.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks everyone for
Yeah.
watching the episode with us and for staying up till very late hours all over the world, or waking at very early
Insane.
hours
I am now curious to see if Ash asks different questions on Club Aspects because I don't.
Oh
remember.
yeah, that's right. We answered questions on Club Aspects too. So
I don't remember what got answered.
I mean, I don't know how many questions that Bria and I answered in that first episode.
Yeah,
two ish.
Yeah.
Thanks again, everybody, so much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
So
here
appreciative
tonight.
of
We
the
will
people who watch this
definitely
show.
do this again.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Good night.
Go to
Night.
sleep. Everyone go to sleep.
Get out of here.
Go to sleep.
Jesus. How do I get out? How do I get out of here?
There's the
I'm just gonna push this red button and see what happens.
Do you want me just to kick you, or do you want to leave quietly?
Please do it yourself. Don't leave it up to me.
Take us out of our misery.
All right, here we go.